Hi, and thank you for visiting my channel. For more information, kindly subscribe and follow. Now let's get started.
Roman Reigns reacted to a major announcement from a member of the Bloodline ahead of tonight's edition of WWE SmackDown. Tonight's episode of SmackDown will air live from the Olympic Arena in Barcelona, Spain. The head of the table returned during the main event of this past Monday's episode of Raw and interfered in the steel cage match between Seth Rollins and CM Punk. Reigns hit Rollins with a stomp on the floor outside the ring, and then hit Punk with a spear. Rollins was awarded the victory in the steel cage match due to Reigns dragging him out of the ring. Ahead of tonight's episode of SmackDown, Paul Heyman took to social media to celebrate the release of WWE 2K25. The Wiseman claimed that today was Roman Reigns' day in his post. The Tribal Chief reacted to Heyman's message ahead of SmackDown as seen in the post below. CM Punk eliminated Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns from the Men's Royal Rumble match earlier this year. Rollins snapped following the elimination and hit Reigns with a stomp on the steel steps. Reigns missed several weeks of action following the attack before his return this past Monday night on WWE Raw. WWE analyst claims relationship between Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns could change at WrestleMania. Wrestling veteran Sam Roberts recently suggested that the relationship between Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns could change at WWE WrestleMania 41. Speaking on his Not Some Wrestling podcast, Roberts predicted that Rollins, Punk, and Reigns would battle in a triple threat match at the Show of Shows next month in Las Vegas. Roberts suggested that Reigns could win the match and then refuse to celebrate with Heyman at the PLE next month. Maybe Roman Reigns wins that triple threat match. Maybe Reigns pins CM Punk and then Reigns looks at Paul Heyman and for the first time in over 4 years, Reigns celebrates a victory and Paul Heyman is not invited to celebrate alongside him. It could get very complicated. It could get very messy, he said. From 1701 to 1730. CM Punk is still owed a favor from Paul Heyman for agreeing to help Reigns and the OG Bloodline defeat Solo Sikoa's faction in the Men's War Games match at Survivor Series 2024. It will be fascinating to see what WWE has planned for the storyline on the road to WrestleMania 41. Roman Reigns breaks character after his return on WWE Raw. Roman Reigns made his WWE return on Raw this week and immediately made a statement by attacking Seth Rollins and CM Punk. However, fans may have missed a heartfelt moment involving the OTC after the show went off the air. The main event of the Monday night show saw Punk battle Rollins in a steel cage match. The two stars had a back-and-forth encounter, but things changed drastically when Reigns showed up. He dragged Seth Rollins out of the cage, inadvertently helping the Visionary pick up the win. After a brief stare-down, Roman Reigns destroyed his former partner and even dropped him with stomp at ringside. While his beatdown on Rollins was stopped by officials, the OTC attacked CM Punk inside the cage as well after he saw Paul Heyman embracing the latter. Following an intense segment, Roman Reigns broke character and had a heartwarming interaction with a young fan as he was walking to the backstage with his Wiseman. The kid asked Reigns for an autograph, and the former WWE Universal Champion duly obliged, making him very happy. WWE legend comments on Roman Reigns' attack on Seth Rollins. While speaking on a recent edition of the Busted Open, Bully Ray said that Roman Reigns waited for the correct time to take his revenge on Seth Rollins. The Visionary viciously attacked Reigns with stomps at Royal Rumble 2025, and the OTC repaid the favor on Monday Night Raw. Roman Reigns came back for his revenge on Seth Rollins, and he waited for a moment in time. I don't think Roman Reigns wanted to help Seth Rollins win. He wanted to drag him out and reseat him for the curb stomps that happened a couple of months ago. That's exactly what happened, Dudley said. It will be interesting to see what kind of twists and turns unfold in the heated feud involving Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and CM Punk as WWE WrestleMania 41 fast approaches. The air was thick with tension as WWE fans waited in anticipation for Friday Night SmackDown. The Bloodline saga had taken another shocking turn, and now, the world was waiting for Roman Reigns' response. Earlier in the day, Paul Heyman had teased a major Bloodline announcement, and speculation ran wild. Was it about Solo Sikoa's rise to power? Was Jacob Fatu officially being brought into the fold? Or, perhaps, it was something even more seismic? Roman Reigns, the once undisputed head of the table, had been absent from WWE television for months. Since his shocking loss at SummerSlam, the landscape of the Bloodline had changed drastically, with Solo Sikoa seemingly taking over as the faction's enforcer and decision-maker. And now, with this latest development, the WWE Universe wondered, how would the Tribal Chief respond? The announcement that shocked WWE. As the hours ticked closer to SmackDown, WWE's official social media accounts dropped the bombshell. Breaking: the Bloodline to unveil a new leader tonight on SmackDown. The internet exploded. Fans were in disbelief. Could Solo Sikoa have finally declared himself as the new tribal chief? Had someone else emerged as the true successor to Reigns? The announcement left more questions than answers. But there was one man who had been silent: Roman Reigns. For months, the former undisputed WWE Universal Champion had retreated from the spotlight, choosing to heel and re-evaluate his position. But now, this declaration had forced his hand. Roman could no longer ignore the power struggle that was playing out in front of the world. Roman breaks his silence. Mere minutes after WWE's bombshell post, Reigns finally broke his silence. A video appeared on his Instagram account, no filters, no effects. Just Roman Reigns, sitting in what appeared to be a dimly lit private gym. His hair was damp with sweat, his signature intense glare piercing through the screen. They say the Bloodline is unveiling a new leader tonight? Roman's voice was calm, yet there was an unmistakable undercurrent of fury beneath it. He scoffed before shaking his head. There is no Bloodline without me. There is no leader without the tribal chief. If Solo thinks he can take what I built, if anyone in that locker room thinks they can replace me, they are in for a rude awakening. He leaned forward, his eyes burning with an unmistakable fire. I made the Bloodline what it is. I put every single one of them on the map. And now? Now they think they can move on without me? Roman chuckled darkly. Good. Let them have their little ceremony. Let them have their moment. Because when I come back, I'm taking everything back. The video ended abruptly, leaving fans stunned. The message was clear: Roman Reigns wasn't finished. SmackDown, the Bloodline's new era begins. With the WWE Universe buzzing, SmackDown kicked off with Paul Heyman standing in the ring, a microphone clutched tightly in his hand. He looked conflicted, almost nervous. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paul Heyman, and I serve as the special counsel to the Bloodline. And tonight, we usher in a new era. The crowd erupted into a mix of cheers and boos, unsure of what was about to happen. Solo Sikoa's music hit, and the enforcer of the Bloodline marched down to the ring, his face emotionless. He was followed closely by Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa, two men who had aligned themselves with Solo in Roman's absence. And then, to the shock of the WWE Universe, Jacob Fatu appeared. The Samoan werewolf had finally arrived in WWE. Heyman hesitated, wiping sweat from his brow before turning back to Solo. Solo Sikoa, are you prepared to accept the mantle of leadership? Are you ready to take the Bloodline to the next level? Solo slowly lifted the mic to his lips. I don't answer to you, Paul. I answer to my family. And my family says it's time for a new head of the table. A massive gasp swept through the arena. But before Solo could continue, the Titantron flickered to life. Roman Reigns' face appeared on the screen. So this is what you've been planning? Roman said coldly. This is what the Bloodline has become? Solo stood his ground in the ring, but even he couldn't hide his surprise at seeing Roman address them so directly. You want to sit at my table, Solo? You think you're ready for this responsibility? Tell me something. When the weight of this family is on your shoulders, will you still be standing? The camera zoomed in on Roman's face, his expression unreadable. You're playing a dangerous game, little brother. And when I come back, I'm ending it. The screen went black. Solo clenched his jaw, gripping the microphone tightly. He wasn't going to back down. Then come back, Roman. Let's settle this. SmackDown faded to commercial with the WWE Universe in absolute chaos. The battle for the Bloodline had officially begun. And Roman Reigns was coming home. The crowd inside the sold-out Wells Fargo Center in Philadelphia was electric. Chants of Tribal Chief. Tribal Chief, echoed throughout the arena as the unmistakable theme of Roman Reigns blared through the speakers. It had been nearly 6 months since Reigns last appeared in a WWE ring, and his absence had left a noticeable void. But tonight, the leader of the Bloodline was back. Dressed in his signature all-black ensemble, Reigns stood at the top of the ramp, his WWE Universal Championship draped over his shoulder. His icy stare scanned the crowd before he slowly made his way to the ring. Paul Heyman, his ever-loyal Wiseman, followed closely behind, a mixture of relief and nervousness evident on his face. Once inside the ring, Reigns took his time, soaking in the moment. The cheers were deafening, but there was an underlying tension in the air. This wasn't the same Roman Reigns who had dominated WWE for years. Something felt different. The bloodline was fractured. Solo Sikoa had taken control in his absence, and now there were whispers that a new leader was emerging within the group. Reigns raised the microphone to his lips, about to address the WWE Universe for the first time since WrestleMania, but before he could speak, a loud "We missed you" chant broke out. It was rare for Reigns to acknowledge the fans in a personal way, but something in that moment made him pause. He smirked, shaking his head before letting out a deep sigh. Then, against all expectations, he broke character. "You guys missed me, huh?" he said, a genuine smile forming on his face. The crowd erupted in cheers. Reigns chuckled, lowering the mic for a moment. Paul Heyman, standing beside him, looked stunned. "This wasn't part of the plan," Heyman muttered under his breath, barely audible to those near the ring. Reigns ran a hand through his hair and continued, his usual dominant and ruthless demeanor momentarily slipping away. "It's funny, you know? Because I actually missed this, too. I missed standing in this ring, hearing you all react the way you do. Whether you cheer me, whether you boo me, this is home." The WWE Universe wasn't sure how to react. This wasn't the arrogant, untouchable Roman Reigns they had come to expect. This was Joe Anoa'i, the man behind the character, speaking from the heart. 6 months away. 6 months of watching from the sidelines, Reigns continued. I was healing up, spending time with my family, watching my kids grow. And for the first time in a long time, I had to sit back and wonder, what's next? A hushed silence fell over the arena. This was the most vulnerable Reigns had ever been in a WWE ring. "But let me make one thing clear," he said, his voice firming up. "I'm not done. I'm not walking away. The bloodline is mine, and I'm here to take back what's mine." Just then, Solo Sikoa's music hit, and the mood inside the arena shifted. Solo, flanked by Tama Tonga and Jacob Fatu, walked to the ring with purpose. The bloodline had changed in Reigns' absence, and it was clear they weren't about to just hand the throne back to him. Reigns, still in a rare moment of honesty, took a step forward and looked Solo in the eyes. "You've been doing a hell of a job, Uso. I'll give you that. But this isn't your kingdom. It never was." Solo tilted his head, glaring at Reigns with cold intensity. "You were gone," he finally said. The bloodline kept moving. Reigns chuckled again, this time with a mix of amusement and frustration. "I was gone, yeah. And I watched you try to fill my shoes. But let's get real, Solo. There's only one tribal chief. And you're looking at him." The tension in the ring was palpable. Tama and Fatu flanked Solo, ready for a fight, but Reigns held up a hand. "Before we go down this road, let me say something as Joe, not as the tribal chief," he said, his tone softening. "I respect what you did. But respect and power are two different things." Solo's jaw tightened, but he nodded, acknowledging the rare moment of sincerity. However, before any peace could be made, Jimmy Uso's music hit. The crowd erupted again as Jimmy stormed down the ramp, a look of desperation on his face. He slid into the ring, standing between Reigns and Solo. Nah, Jimmy shook his head, pointing between both men. "This ain't it. We gonna destroy each other for what? A title? A name?" Reigns, still embracing his out-of-character moment, stepped forward. "It's more than that, Jimmy. You know that. This is about legacy. This is about family." Jimmy turned to Solo. "And you, man? You ready to go to war with him? With us?" Solo didn't answer. Instead, he clenched his fists, his expression unreadable. The crowd waited, holding their breath. Then, in a move that stunned everyone, Solo extended his hand to Reigns. The WWE Universe erupted as Reigns stared at the hand. This was a moment of peace, a rare truce in a war that had torn the family apart. Reigns smirked, shaking Solo's hand before pulling him in for a tense, brief hug. But before anyone could celebrate, a familiar, chilling voice echoed through the arena. "If you boys are done with the family therapy session," said Cody Rhodes, stepping onto the stage, "there's still the matter of who runs WWE now." The arena exploded in cheers as Cody, the reigning WWE champion, made his way to the ring. "You had your time, Roman," Cody said, standing toe-to-toe with the man he dethroned. "But now it's my era." Reigns, now fully back in character, smirked. "We'll see about that." The screen faded to black as the WWE Universe buzzed. Roman Reigns had returned, but this wasn't just about reclaiming a title. This was about cementing his legacy. And for the first time in years, the man behind the character had given fans a glimpse of the real him. One thing was certain, the tribal chief's reign wasn't over just yet.